Hi everyone, welcome back for another tutorial. In this tutorial I want to show you how to create some creative frames for your images using layer styles. If you have your background layer locked, make sure you unlock it because otherwise you can't access FX, and I'm going to actually revert this image to its original status, and there we go. As you can see, we've got the lock here, so we can't access the FX. So I can just click and drag into trash bin, double click on the lock, or holding Alt and click on the lock as well. There are many ways and there's no right or wrong, so it's up to you how you would like to unlock the layer. Or you can also duplicate the layer. Because I would duplicate the layer, but this is non-destructive, as you'll see in a minute, so I can't be bothered to have an extra layer here. So I'm going to click FX and I'm going to bevel and emboss, and as you can see, by default applies straight away a nice bit of frame, and it looks quite cool. But first thing I want to do straight away is untick use global light. That's the first thing I want to do, and I'm going to bring the opacity right here to 100% and 100%. So basically the highlight mode, it's in white, and the shadows, it's in multiply. And as you can see, this is what we've created so far, but it doesn't look right. So to have a more even all around, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, on the shadow mode, I'm going to click on the black and change it to white, and change the blending mode from multiply to screen, and as you can see, it looks a bit better. Also, I can tweak slightly the angle right here where this circle is, so it looks a bit more even, and bring down the size a touch, depth just something like so, and soften a bit. And I'm just trying to come up with something that works. Sometimes getting this around 45 degrees, as you can see now, got a nice even all around. But bear in mind one thing, it may not work with your image depending on how bright or dark is the image. So I'm going to show you how to make a frame around it but darker. So I'm just going to click the white, select black, and in here exactly the same, and we need to change the blending mode from screen to multiply, screen multiply, and as you can see, we've got nice even, a bit like a vignette, and we can increase the size slightly so until it suits what you're after, and make it softer or harder. And as you can see, it's very cool. I'm going to untick that, so we remove those effects, and now I want to go to stroke. This is a very simple way to add just a frame, a normal frame around it, but a lot of people tend to go size and nothing happens. There's a preview here but nothing happened on my image just because of the position. So we change the position from outside to inside, and there we go. We can check the size we want, the opacity, so if the opacity something like something, there you go. We can't see much because we are on one layer and there's nothing beneath, and we can change also the color, and we can even select any color from the image itself. So very cool. And there are other options as well, but I'm going to cancel this, and I want to do something different, a bit more creative. So I'm just going to select my rectangular marquee tool, and I'm just going to drag a selection, something like so, and I'm just going to reposition this like this. And all I'm going to do is I want to fill this area right here where my mouse is pointing now, so outside the marching arms. So to do that, I need to go to select and inverse the selection, and this is the area I want to fill. So I'm going to create a new layer, new blank layer. and I can fill this with any layer. So I'm just going to edit, fill, and I can change foreground, background, any color. It doesn't matter whatsoever. There you go, we have a frame. I know it doesn't look right, but bear with me for a second. And I'm going to select and deselect. Okay, so now we've got this frame. It kind of looks cooler actually. But let's take a step further. So the first thing I want to do is I want to change the fill from 100% to 0. And you go like, okay, but now everything disappeared. But now I'm going to show you to bring some detail again. So clicking FX, I'm going straight away to bevel and emboss, and as you can see, by default apply this frame like so. And because now it's based on that what I filled, the area I filled, so the border around, so I can have a bit fun, like let's say chisel hard now, a bit more depth, size, something like so. Once again I can change the colors and the blending mode, something like this. Too big, so make it smaller, make it softer, and can make that a bit like so. And as you can see, it's quite cool. We can have a bit of fun with this, playing with this. And as you can see, it's not revealing the black, it's going and showing actually the transparency of the image. So let's untick that and let's go now to other options. So let's go to pattern overlay. I know it doesn't look right. Yes. Oh, by the way, when you click, if you just tick, I'm just showing you now on the drop shadow, if you just tick and you don't see the sliders, it's because you actually need to click where the name is. So in this case, pattern overlay, and click on the name as well to make sure that you have the sliders. So I've got some patterns here. These came by default, and we have a lot more. So let's go to rock texture fill, and I'm going to be loading those, and I can either replace or add them to the existing. So I'll just go append and adds without removing the other ones. And as you can see, we've got some funky frames, and they don't look right. Yes, they don't look right, but if we change the blending mode from normal to multiply, we have a different frame straight away. We have the scale, we can play with the scale, we can change to a different one, something like so. So scale it, we've got multiply, we can just change to overlay as well and drop the opacity a touch, something like so. So as you can see, very cool, just playing a bit with this like so. And I prefer multiply, and as you can see, it looks very cool. So, but let's say then you don't want the hard edges. Well, we can fix that in a second, but in the meantime I'm going to show you a few more things. So let's say I like pattern overlay, but let's try something else. I can actually get different color, change the opacity, can go to satin, and it gives like a nice subtle frame. And as you can see, endless possibilities. So I'm going to select pattern overlay, I'm going something like so, and I'm going to click OK. And as you can see here, now the edges are very rough. So what I can do is very simple. I can go to filter, blur, and Gaussian blur, and now as you can see, I'm creating some blurring the pixels, so it's creating like a sort of feather. And as you can see, probably we went too far, and I'll click OK, and I can drop opacity if I want to, and it looks quite cool. The problem is, let's say I gave too much blur or not enough blur. Well, I'm stuck, I need to undo. So I'm going to undo and show you how to fix that. If you right click on the layer, you can convert to smart object. So once you change to smart object, everything will change in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove the fill, oops, the blending mode to multiply like it was, and I'm going again to apply the Gaussian blur. So I'm going blur, Gaussian blur, and too much, let's see, something like so, and I'll click OK. And the beauty of converting to a smart object is because if I went too far with Gaussian blur or not enough, if I'll double click on Gaussian blur, I've got the window and I can tweak it a bit more. Click OK, and we have a nice frame, and plus we still can drop the opacity a touch, and there you go. Some very cool and easy ways to create some some frames using layer styles. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.